What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Classroom Yaps. And today I want to jump into the Grand Theft Auto 6 leaks that just dropped over the last few days. And whether you are somebody that is interested in the game being released, you're very excited, or you're someone like myself who really doesn't have a lot of excitement for the game, you're interested in seeing what happens with it. And even though I don't have that interest, again, I want to see what happens with Grand Theft Auto 6 because this is a massive moment in gaming. Now, with these leaks, it's safe to say that a lot of people are also split on whether these leaks should have happened. If the leakers were being selfish, there was also a crypto coin tied to the fact that, tied to the group that were releasing these leaks. And to me, with just the leaks in mind, it's not so much that they were warranted, but I think ultimately they were bound to happen. I think with Take Two and Rockstar ultimately holding back the information on this game when there is clearly information to be had, it is very frustrating for a lot of people who are interested in seeing this game being put out there. And that frustration leads to a lot of resentment towards Take Two and Rockstar. And me personally, it's not so much that I have resentment, but I do feel like, okay, you guys have a game, there is something ready. Why not just give more information? And the package that Take Two and Rockstar are looking to put this game out into the world in, with Netflix broadcasting the release, and with Netflix broadcasting the footage of the game, as well as just all of these little hoops and jumps, I think it's safe to say that Rockstar has just this ultimate goal of making billions of dollars. I think that much is obvious. But the ultimate goal of having this game be this massive game, video game for fans of the series, as well as just, in my opinion, what is maybe the next step in something like Fortnite. And every time I make these comparisons, there's always somebody in the comments saying, well, these are two different games. Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite are really should not be compared. And I understand that. But the logic that I'm trying to push forward is that Fortnite is this $1 billion game that has rocked the gaming industry for the past 10 plus years. And because of that, we are kind of ready as gamers for the next phase of a massive online game. I have this saying that everybody at some point in time is going to play Fortnite because there is something that is interesting to a lot of people across the board. There are a lot of people my age who aren't necessarily gamers that, they are going into Fortnite with their kids and experiencing these things. Me personally, I was a big fan of the Simpsons release that Fortnite did. And when it comes to something kind of taking that space, we do see Fortnite going through these peaks and valleys of just interest. And I think with Grand Theft Auto, because Grand Theft Auto Online has become a part of the culture in such a huge way, we're ready for that next phase that's coming. And Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a huge game in that right. And ultimately, I've made this point a lot before that when it comes to the actual game and adults buying into the game, I don't foresee a huge audience of the mid 30s to, mid 40s gamers, because gamers are aging a lot more now. Um, I don't see a lot of older gamers really buying into anything outside of the story mode. And I could be 100% wrong because I think I was never uh, ready to jump into Fortnite in that way. But here I am, every now and then I'll pick it up and play it. And Take Two and Rockstar are aware of this. They are aware that everybody from the ages of 15, probably even younger, all the way up into their 40s are probably going to play this game at some point, and it is going to generate billions of dollars. Now, with the leaks, I think when it comes down to so many people defending Rockstar and Take Two, personally, it's a little hard for me to jump on board with that. This is a company, Take Two is a company with a roughly $44 billion market cap. And this is money that, unless you're invested in this company, this is money that is never going to be returned to you. There are people who are going to spend thousands of dollars on their online presence in Grand Theft Auto. And maybe some influencers, maybe some people who manage to stream and become famous from it are going to make that money. Absolutely. That's going to happen regardless of the leaks. But when it comes to defending this $1 billion company, it's just foolish to me. They don't care about you, they don't care about your wallet. And I think ultimately, if the if the leakers were who they really were on Twitter, released their statement of saying that they are doing this on behalf of gamers who want a physical release, because Take Two and Rockstar have made it a point to say that a physical release is not necessary. And in the event that Rockstar decides to strip away licenses and get rid of the fact that, okay, we're going to get rid of single player mode and have it tied to online, a lot of gamers are going to be absolutely devastated and frustrated because they no longer own that game to which they bought. This is the physical media problem that a lot of collectors of physical media have been rallying for, is the fact that you should own your media. And that is just likely not going to happen if the leakers don't get their way and if gamers don't get their way for Grand Theft Auto 6. So the fact that, we have so many people rallying for Take Two and saying the leakers were wrong, they shouldn't have did this, no matter how frustrated you are, you shouldn't leak this valuable information. Again, personally, I think it was bound to happen at some point. And, looking at the leaks, again, tying that back to the idea of the fact that if you are an adult and you want to escape by playing video games, absolutely. I'm that person, right? I will play games to just kind of free my mind for a little bit from all the stresses of the everyday world. But when I'm looking at Grand Theft Auto and I'm looking at these leaks, I think a lot of things have been confirmed for me in terms of what this game is going to be like. And I'm going to compare this more so to Red Dead Redemption 2, that had a world that was living and breathing. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that I think a lot of people fell in love with because it was that simulation of a life that you could almost never have. It was like being inside of the show Westworld, where you could be this character. And to me, that is what Rockstar ultimately should have developed and pushed forward with, was Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, because it was so different from anything else that was available that I think ultimately it could have been something much bigger. And, you know, I'm personally not like tied into the politics of why that never happened, but I know it never happened. And it really should have, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is a incredible game. I think people that love it, the fact that I love it, I think ultimately there is something there that is just absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning, and gripping in all aspects of the game. And Grand Theft Auto 6 is absolutely going to mirror that, but in a modern take. I think ultimately my gripe with it is when I see these leaks and I see the fact that there is a smartphone, which Grand Theft Auto 5 had that smartphone feature. To me, it's too much of an echo of our everyday world. And Grand Theft Auto has always been that mirror holding up, that mirror being held up to society. There's always been a lot of commentary about society. There's always been a lot of commentary about the world as it stands. However, when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 6 and with the way the world is now, it's almost too clear of a reflection. And again, I'm playing games to escape the life that we live. What made Red Dead Redemption 2 ultimately interesting is the fact that there were limitations to the way that you were moving about in the world. There was friction. And with Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm, looking at the leaks, I see, characters changing tires. I see engine mechanics, the health of your engine, the fact that you may need to maintain these aspects of, your vehicle. These are things I have to do in everyday life now. I just had uh, the car that I drive smog checked. I just had to renew the registration. And to me, when I'm looking at the world through a smartphone, who I would assume is Lucia, it's it's too much. It's too real for me. It's too like I'm jumping out of our world, which is real, and I could do actual things into this other world that is mirroring our world. And there's like, yeah, I could like crash into people and like get chased by cops, which has always been a thing in Grand Theft Auto, which is what people fell in love with. But there's all these other real aspects to it. It's too much. And the fact that there is almost that mirror and those lack of limitations and just be a new person in this living, breathing world is harder for me to grab onto. It's harder for me to invest into. And I think a lot of people are going to invest that in them, because invest that time into the game, because maybe they do want to be a different person in a different world and get famous and perhaps become a famous streamer. That opportunity is there. I get it. It's just hard for me with real life priorities to invest that time into. Um, but ultimately, that's what the leaks have confirmed for me. Um, there's a lot of mixed feelings. There are a lot of people that will tell you different. There are a lot of people that will tell you their opinion on it, and this is just mine. So if you've made it this far into this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.